bottle ready to go, so I'm sure he won't feel too pressured.
Zai's going to have to turn his hot start into something. He's about to grab a mech of his own, meaning I think Arteezy goes for either a really quick BKB. An S&Y is probably decent here in this scenario too, if he doesn't want to go for the really fast BKB. A Yules isn't a bad choice.
Puppey gets spotted out by Lil. Kuro and S4 are still here though, so VP, and unless they really feel confident about bursting down one hero with a combination of Fissure, Silence, right clicks, and the Visage nuke to finish things off, but it seems like it would just be better for them to sit back and get their level 6s at this point.
Yeah, and after everything that happened in this bottom lane, this game is surprisingly incredibly close as G and the Drow Ranger just trail the Shadow Fiend. You expect the Shadow Fiend to be this far ahead in net worth, and that means the other lanes really had to go better for Secret. And this mid lane, obviously that gank into that dive at bottom wasn't great, and Zai hasn't been able to do too much after that either.
Puppey's got to stay relatively close. He does have the level 2 Shallow Grave, but at any point they could actually Fissure, Silence, and maybe catch S4 out, but he's actually coming in with his Invis rune. Waiting for that opportunity for a good Sonic Wave initiation. There's still a lot of room, though, for Virtus Pro in the top lane. They haven't actually seen anybody for quite some time, and that's because Arteezy is doing a full-time jungle. FNG has had a lot of opportunity to get those levels and gold that he really needs as a support Lina to still be a factor. As you said last game, you kind of want that Lina by about 35 minutes to start performing a little bit more of a core role.
Yeah, you don't want her to just stay really poor, and so they prioritize getting the level 6 on her really quickly.
DK Phobos doesn't have a TP, but he's already into the trees, so S4 can't make that jump. Instead, they're going to go for this tier 1 tower. It's joined now by Lil. They may be able to push back. Never mind. There's no glyph whatsoever, so the tower is going to fall. No attempt at a deny either. Virtus Pro playing it a lot more cautiously.
There's just not enough heroes ready for VP, and DK Phobos isn't level 6. He doesn't have enough farm. There's no way they want to continue to contest that. And FNG, he's just going to push that top lane out, force somebody to come back, and force Arteezy to show himself. Like, they're just playing for the information game at this point. They don't really want to get into a straight fight with Secret with the heroes that they have. Like, the Drow isn't going to really come to a fight just yet. Even if she TPs in, she doesn't have a reliable disable. The slow is okay, but it's not something you want to initiate with.
Right. Why do you think Illidan on his Drow Ranger chose to only go for one ring of the kills? Oftentimes when we see Drow Rangers, especially with early game pressure, they go for multiple Wraith Bands, similar to the same vein that Super did with his mid sniper.
I think he just felt that he could get away with it, and I mean it was very clear that he could, especially after they pick up the kill on the Queen of Pain. You can just build more and more greedy, and you just need the Morbid Mass faster, especially against the pressure of the Ion Shells. It's more important that you have some form of lane sustain.
G's spending a lot of time staying in. He's not actually moving around trying to gank too much. He spent a lot of time in his middle lane. Now he's actually doing some jungling. Looks like he's going to be building into the Bloodstone once again first. S4, his farm is not nearly as good as it was in game number 2. In fact, he's behind the Storm Spirit right now. What do you do as a Queen of Pain in this matchup when you're behind?
I mean, I still really like going for the Aghanim Scepter, or even the Yules if you're afraid of things like the Lina setup or the Drow Silence, but I mean, this is hard because it's not a matchup that you're meant to be behind in, and so Secret, they go for the smoke, and this is the space creation time.
This is rather interesting. That smoke, as you said, but the kind of curious part is that Illidan is going to try to solo up Roshan while VP go for that 4-man smoke into the enemy jungle.
He might actually kind of be successful with this, but Secret are headed in that same direction, and this is so tricky because they're right next to him, but they might not know. This timing is so weird.
It's all up to Puppey. If he runs down the river and his smoke pops, yep, it's popped now.
Oh, they know. This is so bad for Illidan. He has no idea that they're set up here, but he might actually just thought he's chasing an Invis hero, and they actually just run past it. Yeah, they actually don't know that this is happening.
They think there's somebody.
Oh, now he pings it out.
Yeah, he's going into it now. Illidan's already down to 350 HP. It's going to be very simple. Turns around, Silence. Illidan, the TP out. Oh, that is beautiful. He gets away and will not be punished for his attempt at a solo Roche play. Now, Roshan is down to half HP, and Team Secret are actually going to go for it themselves now.
This is so weird because I don't even think Illidan could have done it without the help of the rest of his team. Like, that was just him alone hitting the Roshan. He had 300 HP, and Roshan still had about half, and it was just an odd attempt that I don't know if it could have succeeded without the help of something like Lil coming in with a medallion, which he doesn't have.
FNG perhaps too far forward. Oh, nice turnaround there with the three-man Fisher. FNG pops the ultimate onto Kuro, trying to finish him off. Meanwhile, S4 jumps in, gets off the Sonic Wave, but God gets the kill first. Now FNG lands the Light Strike on Zai. Good Shallow Grave, keeping him alive. He turns around with the wall on top of RTZ's ultimate, just trying to push back a VP. But Virtus Pro, again, giving a lot of respect to Team Secret, not charging forward, not trying to take advantage of that small...
RTZ, he no longer has the ult.
He's not actually blocked out. They still get hit by the Light Strike Array. He will be able to get around that one, and Lil is just kind of stuck in this channel with the wall on top. He goes down to the RTZ raise.
And that's the power of the Kuro Rubik as he steals the fissure, and that was the game-changing fissure steal right there. Is that might have gone terribly wrong for them as they were really grouped up to kill RTZ. The mech was already used by Zai. Not a whole lot of support from there. The Grave, I think, was used for Zai at the same time, too. So RTZ might have just gotten isolated out, but still, I mean, you're losing S4 in all of these trades, and he's not really gaining any net worth. But at the same time, G just gets closer and closer to that Bloodstone. And like I talked about, Secret don't have a real natural Storm counter. Their lineups often don't, and at some point, you're going to just have to confront the fact that G's going to get a Bloodstone, and S4 blinked.
He just blinked right into DK Phobos. They had the Echo Slam if necessary, but it's not. With the Familiars there, they easily chain stun him down, and G is now in a killing spree, bringing him that much closer to the critical Bloodstone that you were talking about. Oh, Kuro, he's going to be blown up by FNG as well. Gets the Light Strike Array to lead things off and had the Laguna Blade ready to go.
And everything right now just falling apart for Secret is... That was just such an unlucky blink. He had the vision up here, but didn't have the vision in the river, and that's going to lead to a kill. And I think this is going to mean a Roshan for VP at the same time. The Queen of Pain just doesn't have the farm to challenge it. Her Sonic Wave's on CD. You don't have a BKB on RTZ, so a lot of this fight is going to come down to Zai's initiation. RTZ decided to go for the stats build. He wants to play for the mid game, and this is going to be really hard for them to challenge.
It still seems to be Virtus Pro a little bit scared of the Tier 1 tower still being up in that bottom lane, especially with a blinking hero like the Queen of Pain. There's just such a rapid response time that they back away from Roshan and instead are going for a 5-man smoke, a much safer play.
Oh, Secret go for their own 5-man smoke, and both teams are just angling for the high ground position.
And Team Secret, maybe the ones who get it here, they're on the Radiant side. That double staircase is going to be a killer if VP...
Oh, they spot that out, I think.
Jungle. G, he's the first one.
They know for sure now.
Goes for the SF, jumping in, trying to take out RTZ immediately. FNG moves forward, gets one of the nukes, but RTZ still looking decently healthy. God really wants to go for it, though. The Familiars are chasing him down. We'll be able to get a double stun there. And DK Phobos comes charging forward. S4 is actually going for FNG in the background. He does not have a TP, but it's still S4 not wanting to push that too much. A little bit of skirmish back and forth, but nobody dying just yet. It almost looks like Team Secret actually want to pursue Virtus Pro. VP thinking about the turnaround here. God still has plenty of mana. Over half of his mana pool is up, and he still has the Soul Ring, rather.
It's just so hard for them to kill RTZ right now. Even if they overcommit for that, the Grave's almost always going to be there in position. If you notice that when they got split up, Puppey just hugged him at all times. He doesn't care about S4 at this point. It's just about keeping RTZ alive, and that mech solely used for RTZ, that Grave solely saved for him as well. It's going to be really hard to bring 1200 HP, a magic stick, and all of that help to come with it. This is going to mean that the BKB is probably next for him, and once that happens, I actually think Secret are in a really good position to take fights. Like, they're still up in net worth. Even though the kills are in favor of VP, and the Storm is getting a little bit out of control, they have a lot of ways to deal with it just because RTZ is... I mean, he's pushing them across this game with 9,100 net worth at 17 minutes compared to just the 6.4k that the Storm and the Dro have.
Yeah, it's natural for an SF to stay more farmed than the enemy cores. He's probably one of the faster farmers out there, but the dramatic difference is impressive from RTZ. Ooh, that's an Illidan double damage. Still trying to go for that Roshan. They're chasing down FNG. They will be able to get the vacuum. Sai is actually stunned up. S4 pops his own ultimate. FNG somehow still alive here as Team Secret swarm forward. Telekinesis on the drone. Ranger actually looks on the top. That is huge. Illidan actually gets the silence out to be able to stop some of this aggression. And now they need to get him out of those trees. He'll actually just TP out. Somehow there's only one kill for VP and Team Secret didn't get anything out of that. But at the same time, Team Secret are still stalling up that Roshan.
It's just such an awkward engagement for both teams. VP, you're starting to see the effects of what Zai did at that bottom lane even now. Because Lil, at this point in the game, normally has at least a medallion, but It's 18 minutes and he's just working on Tranquil Boots. He even buys a mango just so he has enough mana to stay in these fights, and FNG isn't doing any better.
We have a lot of 5 versus 5 happening right now, but Illidan still chooses to go for the Shadow Blade. More of a pick-off item, may not be that useful in team fights later on into the game. Why do you think he went for this item choice over certain more stat-based builds? We've even seen S and Y before on Drow Ranger. Early BKBs are always picked up on Drows as well.
You can just continue to pressure the Queen of Pain, for example, and go for the solo pick-off on her. Right. You can do what he just did right there, which is invis into the Roshan pit, and Secret have no idea that this is going on. Like, they might see the birds flying in, but it's not going to matter at this point as it's so low, and this was such a hard-fought Roshan, and G's going to pick up an Aegis with this, and this might just open up the map again for VP.
So once again, the combination for Storm Spirit is coming, the Bloodstone and Aegis. That should allow him to get easy charges, start building up that mana regeneration.
Yeah, once he has that Bloodstone, things become a lot more clear-cut for VP. You can start looking for fights with that Aegis. You can start going for the tier 1s that are still existing on the map. The bottom one is quite low, the top one is quite low, but you probably go for the top one after you go for the bottom one. Because the bottom one is 360 HP. Secret most likely don't fight that because of that Aegis.
FNG pushes out the middle lane real quick, TP's out. Illidan's going to spend his time farming up the top lane. S4 is actually sitting on the side there. He gets pinged out by Illidan though.
Oh, here's a big pickup right now. DK Phobos gets that Blink Dagger, and this is going to be so hard for them to fight. And again, at bottom, they're just not going to defend this. They're sending people down now, but
TP, S4 may actually be jumped on by DK Phobos. Decides against it. God's going to pop his invis room, and the deny is there from S4. Despite the double creep wave, he manages to secure the last hit.
Right now, S4 probably working on a Hex. I think this is the best item that he can go for. If you go for Yules, your hero is pretty much useless with this game. You go for that item if you have a kill or two. Going for the Aghanims also probably doesn't do enough. So going for the Hex means that at some point the Storm is going to have to grab a BKB. Same with the Drow Ranger, and you want to force them into that weird situation where instead of continuing their snowball, they have to stop and get a BKB.
Right. Speaking of BKB, Artur has his coming in. That tier 1 tower rapidly dropping though to Illidan's push as the Drow Ranger. This is allowing them to kind of keep up with the SF.
Oh, this is such a bad situation for VP to be in, though.
Shadowplay goes off. Illidan actually gets some distance. Now the counter ward gets dropped. The telekinesis is there. Light Strike Array misses. FNG pops his head out. He's trying to get away. Silence actually gets laid out. Illidan hopefully was getting to the trees and TPing out, but there's no way. Team 2 can actually get 2 there. A big pickoff, even if it does cost them their tier 1 tower. Virtus Pro, oh my goodness, it actually looks like they want to still fight this one with the initiation from TK Phobos. This would be a pretty crazy choice by them to try 3 versus 5. And sure enough, they do back up.
I don't think they necessarily had to go for that top push either, though. They showed 2 of their heroes in the mid lane, 1 of the heroes in the bottom lane, meaning that max VP can't send anybody else up there. There's only 1 tier 2 tower, not enough space for them to get there in time, and I mean, they just pretty much fed away 2 heroes. You have to anticipate Secret having at least a Dust or a Sentry ready. They see the Shadow Blade come out on the Drow. They're always going to anticipate that. There's no professional team that will see a Shadow Blade and say, okay, well, let's just find out what happens and hope that he doesn't invis. And I mean, that's just free 2 kills for them, and they want to use this Aegis at this point, though. Yeah. With the Bloodstone, they're probably going to try to get aggressive, and Arteezy's a really good target here.
Absolutely. DK Phobos